Hello and welcome to the Canadian Culture Corner. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-hosts Dan and Jet.
Hello and greetings.
Today we're talking about the Joker and the problem, of him. Outside the Dark Knight. That movie was really good.
Yes.
Heath Ledger Joker is probably the only decent one who is standout and one can say is actually crazy.
Yes.
Because here's the main telltale sign. When he's told, you're nuts, his response is, no, I'm just ahead of the curve. Now, he claims to be an agent of anarchy and chaos, but that's because he thinks that that's the true nature of the world and of people. So what this means is he's justifying what he's doing and trying to deny being insane. Now, it's been said that how you can tell someone is insane is that, they don't have any self-doubt and they think, I'm not crazy. I can't be in some ways. And, no, in any way. They don't think they're crazy at all. And your average person will think to himself and doubt himself all the time. You're a madman, won't. And that's where Heath Ledger's Joker denies being insane because he doesn't think he is.
He thinks all the anarchy and the chaos and the insanity, he thinks that is normal.
Exactly. But you look at the Joker from the comics, and he goes, woo, I'm crazy. That doesn't make sense.
The fact that in Impulse Comics, one line he says is, this kid could drive me crazy, would drive me crazy if I wasn't already insane.
Which, that shows a level of self-awareness no madman has.
Yes.
And if you look at Zodiac Killer and Jack the Ripper, they were completely convinced they were sane. And they're two of the maddest individuals in human history. You even look at Caligula and Nero. They truly thought they were normal.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And looking at other killer clowns type villains like Kefka and the Jackal.
I guess Jackal can be a little bit of a killer clown. Those two completely think they're normal, or at least in their right frame of mind.
Which, it shows something very, very different than the Joker. For example, a psychologist at Arkham saying that Joker creates 100 personalities every day. That is obviously the psychologist being bought off.
Yeah, because Joker's personality is pretty consistent throughout the comics.
And for an alternate personality to show up, there has to be some form of trauma.
But Joker keeps claiming his story changes. When in reality, we know that he was a failed comedian by the name of Jack Napier, who did not have a very good marriage, and whom had a son. Now, that in mind, there's only one insanity Joker has ever denied having. Pedophilia. And yet we have substantial proof of him being a pedophile. But he denies he has a problem, denies he's a pedophile. And here's another thing. Now, Harley in the comics and in the cartoon is fairly average looking. But the thing is, do you honestly think a straight guy with a woman throwing herself at him would actually say, no, thanks? No,
And the amount of dedication Harley gives to her man.
Yeah, anytime Harley has diverted her affection to someone else, they've always been willing to put out, so to speak, in any form of media. But Joker has never been willing to. Because he's a pedophile. He only gets turned on by little boys.
Another primary, it's like the second primary insanity that I could genuinely say is histrionics personality disorder.
Yeah, because you're a psychologist. You're going, oh yeah, he probably has this.
Yeah.
He wants to engrave his name in history.
Mm-hmm. But he craves attention, especially from Batman.
I would suggest that has to do with the fact that his mother was neglectful when he was a child. I think that's in his actual backstory. So it does explain a lot. Either that or there's the fact that I think his father was absent. And this plays, there's the desire to seek that male, older man. Well, not older, but like that domineering male attention. Now, Joker, people don't realize, is actually about, I think, he's about 20, he's more than 30 years older than Bruce. He's, like, I think I read somewhere that he's probably closer to Alfred's age, but he might have, I think, almost a decade on Alfred. So, because I think he was in his late 60s by the time of Under the Red Hood. So, with that, and Bruce was about 40 around that, well, or nearing 40 around that time. So, what you have is a villain who, frankly, is not in great shape anymore. So, in that regard, there's no way he can pose a physical threat to Batman. Oh, he's so crazy, they're strong! That part is stupid. I've seen that somewhere, and that doesn't make any sense.
And he has enough sense to be able to zoom in on Harley's insecurities and manipulate her.
If anything, I would say he's a man who's read more than his share of psychology books, and he knows, I would almost dare say he's a better psychologist than Harley.
Yes, and he's also a brilliant chemist. I'll give him that much.
He's also, like, we're not saying he's stupid. To the contrary, we're actually saying he's pretty smart. I would even say that given Bruce's phobia of him, this is why the playing field is kind of leveled. Bruce is so terrified he can't fight Joker. And you also got to bear in mind, Bruce's terror of certain people has caused him to lose in fights to them in the past. And time and again, it's not just Joker. To an extent, he's afraid of Two-Face, of hurting him. He should actually be able to take out Two-Face in a few fights, but a few times he's lost.
And this has repercussions in the Justice League, as many hear of Batman's
tucking tail and going,
of the Joker. A lot of people overestimate the Joker, but you get pretty much one of the bottom tier rookies at the time, Impulse, that runs around the Joker and makes him look like
an incompetent boob.
Exactly.
Which Joker is to an extent. He's a Z or D list villain.
And
he's not Kefka, because if you play FF6, Kefka seems incompetent in the first 5 seconds of his appearance. But then as the game progresses, you see that he is probably the most powerful and dangerous Final Fantasy villain, if not almost the character of all times. And here's the thing. Kefka is batshit nuts. And, every time he comes up with a new plan, you're left going, how do you arrive at that, at that idea? But the thing is, hell, Kefka is even told at one point, all right, Kefka, now I don't want you poisoning that river over there like you plan to. If you do, I will know the reason why, from one of the superiors. The guy leaves, not even 5 minutes, and you have Kefka. Well, time to poison the river. Didn't you hear what he said? Doesn't matter. It's the only sane thing to do. And then he laughs, does it, but then when some of his goons start going, well, we're not sure we want to continue following your orders. You're so batshit nuts. He's genuinely confused and goes, I'm not crazy, and proceeds to fireball some of them. Why? What's Kefka's mindset? Am I crazy?
There's a disconnect from reality there. Joker is connected to reality.
Yes. I would dare say...
It's like the only two things that he is disconnected from is his histrionics and his pedophilia.
Yeah. Heck, Batman has also lost fights against a depowered Superman. Now, Batman in this World Finest story had Superman's powers, but he lost against Clark simply because Clark tapped into, yes, his old family trauma, but there was also Bruce overthinking and getting scared and on some level thinking that Clark could still defeat him. And